Think that illegal migrants are screened for criminality at the border? Well, some of them are, most of them might be, but that doesn't mean they aren't let right into Canada anyway. We have the exclusive Canadian Border Services Agency documents to prove it. I want to give you a sneak peek into a big story that I'm currently working on. It involves nearly 300 pages of access to information documents for me to sift through. That story is about the assault of a Canada Border Services Agency officer by an illegal border crosser at the border in Emerson, Manitoba. That assault happened way back in May 2017. We filed for these documents shortly thereafter. We found out in a CBC report that the migrant, Ahmen Aden Ali, was then attempting a full frontal public relations sympathy campaign so that he could remain in Canada. And he was doing it with the help of the CBC. Now, we filed for these documents shortly thereafter. We found out about the news in a CBC report that the migrant, Ahmen Aden Ali, would be pleading guilty so that he could stay in Canada. But Ali was allowed into Canada after a series of criminal convictions in the United States that made him ineligible for citizenship there. It's a crazy story. And I'll have the full story about Ali tomorrow, now that 3 years later, our access to information documents have finally come back. But as I was going through these documents, I saw something that really troubled me. I think that you should know about this information right away. It starts here on page 45. This is the list of illegal migrants that arrived during the time Ali crossed the border at Emerson. And please keep in mind, Emerson proper has a population of fewer than 700 people at any given time. 423 illegal migrants crossed between January and April 2017 at the Emerson point of entry, with 151 of those coming from Somalia, but 14 were American citizens. Why is Canada taking Americans as refugees? That's the freest country, the most prosperous country the face of Earth has ever known. Of course, this is just spite for President Trump from Trudeau. Let's jump ahead to page 84. Between March 20th and April 12th, 2017, 97 illegal border crossers were actually detained, 13 for being a risk to the public, 2 for identity fraud, and the rest for being flight risks. And here's the kicker. Although not all persons with criminality are detained, these stats provide a preliminary indication that the proportion of cases with serious criminality is relatively low. Hang on here. They let some illegal migrants right in, regardless of the criminality that rendered them illegal overstayers in the First Nation that welcomed them and offered them refuge. Low isn't good enough here. It should be 0. Page 88, it's even worse. CBSA says it has no way to track what happens with criminals trying to cross the border, and they have no clue what happens to them after they cross. Look at this. Yeah, that's not feasible. So no way to simply pull asylum seekers for those with criminality, not what then happened to them. Friends, this is such a joke. Canada border agents will turn away an American with a 30-year-old assault charge who has lived a lifetime of good behavior since. And they'll turn away someone with a drug charge a decade ago while our professional pot smoker prime minister is a weed, Netflix, and chill shut-in at Rideau Cottage. But serious criminals, their words not mine, who had no respect for the laws in the first country that offered them safe haven just a short time ago, are having their luggage carried in before they are sent to taxpayer-funded hotel rooms. And this policy is what led to a female border guard being assaulted. That full story tomorrow here at Rebel News. The whole story is even worse than what we already know. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. These kinds of access to information investigations are time-consuming and expensive. This one here is over 3 years in the making, but we are really the only ones asking these sorts of questions about how Justin Trudeau's open border policies are putting Canadians in danger. To help cover the cost of our access to information investigations, please donate today at rebelinvestigates.com.